Hello, Greg Medel from Medel Brothers Quality Meats. Welcome to Butcher Meats Chef. Today, I'm completely out of my element. I'm going to be a student here. My teacher, Jasmine, from Nola's, A Taste of New Orleans in Old Walkerville. Today, she's going to teach me how to shuck some oysters.
All right, so I have an easy one here for you.
Did you start it out already for me?
Yeah, I picked some easy ones there. All right,
Nice.
So what we're going to do is shucking. You have a towel, you fold it over half the oyster, make sure you protect your hand. You have your shucker, you take the tip, you stick it in the opening spot of the oyster. Go, you'll hear the pop, and then once it's in, you run your shucker along the inner of the oyster, pop the top shell off, you scrape along the top to release it, and then scrape along the bottom, and that's it.
All right, I'm going to give it a shot.
All right,
See
go
how
for
I
it.
can do. Right here. Right in.
Don't be scared yet. Once the tip's in, just pop it.
Okay.
Sometimes a little force is needed.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I got it.
Got it.
Proper open.
There we go. Now just perfect.
Scrape this
Release
into
from
the bottom?
Yeah, scrape it from the bottom.
And scrape out some shells.
Yeah,
For the
little
inexperience.
bits. There you go.
Perfect. Look
Yeah,
at that.
She's good.
Awesome. So what do we do with these after?
So today we are going to charbroil them. We are going to fill them with the cheese blend we use at Nola's. We're going to get them on the grill, and then we fill the shells with clarified butter, and they only take about, I don't know, I'd say 2 to 4 minutes tops.
Nice. What's in there? Parmesan cheese and some secret ingredients, some spices?
Yeah, we have our secret Nola's cheese blend that we use for most things.
Nice. All right, so we're going to use a big green egg today.
Yeah, we are.
It's cranked up to about 600. All right, well that looks beautiful. Now how do you serve this? You just grab a piece of bread and...
Yep, we serve them with bread and lemon. Super simple.
Beautiful. All right, show me how to eat this.
All right. And
All right.
since it's already separated from the shell, you pretty much just pick it out.
Okay, let me give this a shot. Something new for me. That is delicious. That's fantastic. I love it. I gotta try a piece of bread now.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste any of that juice in there.
That's
eh?
what most people do. They take
That
the
is-
bread and then get all the butter out of it.
All right, so when we come back, we're gonna bring Chef Anderson in to do some catfish. Thank you for showing us this.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we are back. We are with Anderson from Nola's. Nola's, what is the significance to the name Nola's?
A lot of people ask me this all the time. Some people think it might be a name for a dog. It's New Orleans, Louisiana. Sort of how they work their postal system there,
Yeah.
like LAX, NOL.
Nice. All right, so what you're cooking today is one of your specialties at your restaurant?
I'm gonna show you guys how we do some of our sides and especially our catfish. Our catfish fillets from Louisiana. It's as authentic as you can get. It's a beautiful fish. A lot of people might be apprehensive using it at home, but it's one of our best sellers. So.
No, this is not the catfish you catch when you're out fishing. This is freshwater, farm
Yeah.
raised.
They are large. We're looking at maybe about a 9 ounce to 8 ounce to 9 ounce fillet.
All right, let's see what we got.
We're gonna start with some sides though. New Orleans, one of the staple foods is the red beans and rice. What we do is we make a vegetable Creole blend. It's mostly tomato based, so if you've ever had like a rice pilaf or those pre-seasoned nice rice
Right,
dishes, if you want to pull the lid
Yeah,
off
sure, I
that,
will.
we can show.
Yeah, we already got it started.
So you've got okra, you've got your green bell pepper, your white onion, and celery. They call that down there the Holy Trinity. We add okra in because okra is another great vegetable. It adds some body, a different flavor to it. So that's our Creole rice. Now, a very similar approach that we take to the red beans. We use a lot of those same vegetables in it, although it comes out very different. We like to keep ours a little bit rustic, a little bit chunky, so you get those bits in your mouth you get to work through a bit. A lot of people will puree their beans, make it a little bit, but we like it a little bit tighter.
Do you mix these two together here?
They just go kind of side by side.
Side by side,
Yep.
okay.
I think even in New Orleans, a lot of it depends just on the chef's own flavor.
Right.
The one thing we like to do though, before we serve it, like almost anything else that's French based, is we add butter. A
little pat of butter.
It'll help you tighten up your liquids, right? It'll help re-emulsify things so your rice won't run out onto the plate.
It'll give you that nice glossy look.
And then they don't end up mixing, which is very nice. So another staple, we do mac and cheese. Now everybody loves mac and cheese. So what we'll start with at the restaurant is we make a little thing we call magic butter. It's essentially just butter with shallots and garlic that is slow cooked together. So this is definitely something you can make at home.
That smell is amazing as soon as it hit that pan.
And you don't have to worry about chopping garlic every time you cook if you make this at home. You can make a large batch of it and you can put it in everything you make. Vegetables, pastas, you can marinate meats with it. So what we do is we just let that reduce a little bit on the heat. I've got some pre-cooked macaroni here. Now you don't have to worry about it getting too thick because once you add the cheese in, the whole thing just,
Beautiful.
as you can imagine, it envelops itself. It becomes very thick and rich.
So that's a shredded cheddar, shredded...
This would be a blend. We've got some mozzarella, we've got some cheddar. It can be, you can use any cheese you want. If you like smoked stuff like the Gouda, go for it.
Perfect.
It's really a budget at that point because we all know you can spend as much as you want on cheese.
Right.
What I find is a good high-fat melting cheese really brings it all together. So mozzarella especially. It can't just be mozzarella.
Not enough flavor in there.
Not enough. No, you want something a little bit sharp like the cheddar, but the mozzarella will allow it to all join together to bind itself. As it melts, it just becomes nice and thick and rich. Now with the content of salt in the cheese, you don't need too much more. I just like, once I get the noodles together and see what amount I'm working with, I just like to sprinkle just a little bit extra just in case.
Right. We
throw a little green onion in there. That's another staple for New Orleans cooking. Lots of green onions in almost everything. It's their garnish. They put it in anytime, anywhere.
Okay, so when we come back, we will do catfish, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. All right, it's catfish time. We sell catfish in our store, so you have the option of coming in to cook it yourself or go to the experts and see how they do it.
Yeah, and we'll show you how we do it. So, we don't overcomplicate it with the seasoning. We do at Nola's make our own Cajun blend. That recipe I'm not going to give you. Any will do fine. We're just particular about ours.
They should be, right?
Exactly.
Restaurant, yep.
Yep. I mean, we've done a lot of our own research going down to New Orleans, eating the food, talking to chefs, talking to the people. We want it to be as authentic as possible. So what I'd like to do is just get a little bit of vegetable oil on the catfish. It's going to help you navigate through all the heat. So we don't want anything to stick, right? It's one thing that people have a problem with whitefish.
Right.
If it sticks to the pan, you got the spatula, you're trying to get it off, everything's breaking apart, right? And it's what stops a lot of people from doing it at home. So a little bit of salt, I prefer either sea or kosher, something that's not iodized.
Yeah, I tasted this earlier and I noticed there's really no salt in there, right?
Not much, no. We usually will use just salt as its own seasoning first, and then we'll adjust. There is a little bit of salt in this just to bring out the flavor of the other spices in it.
Yeah. You can control it better this way.
We can absolutely control it better. So you'll just want to pretty liberally sprinkle it on the catfish. You want as much as it can pretty much take, because this is where you're going to get all your flavor from.
Right.
And then we just help that rub in, the oil, the Cajun. So then this is your start to your blackening. So you can already see it went from like a nice bright color to kind of looking a little brownish now that it's wet. And then this will sear with the fish. Now, when we blacken things, sometimes people say, well, is it really spicy? It's spicy in the sense where it's a lot of spices.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that it's hot
too
heat.
hot,
It's
right.
not like a hot sauce. And also blackening, it's not about burning anything.
Right.
It's just the spices will toast, will crisp.
Well, these particular spices, when they come to heat, they do get that color of
Correct.
darkness, but it's not burnt, right?
Yeah, it's not about burning. What I like to do, cast iron pan preheated.
Nice and hot. So you only season one side of that?
Only one side.
Yeah.
I don't mind like a flip and a little
rub it in, rub
hi,
it in.
how are you to the bottom.
Yep.
But really what we're gonna try and do is only cook one side on the actual surface itself.
Interesting.
The rest of it will let the convection or the air in either the barbecue, the charcoal, your oven at home. You'll wanna finish it in something with some heat. So today with this is perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely perfect. So again, a little bit of vegetable oil in your pan to get that hot. And you'll know it'll be ready once some butter starts to melt in it. And butter is essential to getting the right crisp, getting the right sear on your fish. Now we can put it in. You want to move it.
Make sure it doesn't stick right away, right?
That's right, because if you don't move it, the chances of it sticking get pretty high. I use my hand here because honestly, I've done this so many times.
You have no fingertips anymore,
No,
right?
no hair, no fingertips. So we're gonna move it until we're fairly confident it won't be sticking. And if you don't want to touch it with your hand, or if you don't want to take tongs to it, you can always just give your pan a shake.
It smells fantastic.
And you just let that work itself now. So the cast iron pan, it's got enough of that bottom heat where it's just gonna hit it nice.
Right.
You've got the seasonings in between. I put on the lid. And you go for maybe about 6-7 minutes and the whole thing is done.
Done.
Just flip it when I go to put it on the
Right.
plate and that's it. And
Perfect.
you still have to be delicate with it. And as that's cooking, we'll see what these sides look like. Because I'm confident now that the mac and cheese is probably coming together lovely.
Yep.
So again, I'll start off with what we talked about earlier, the Creole rice. So now that it's been under the heat for a long time, a lot of that liquid is cooked into the rice. Now you can cook the rice raw with like a peel-off.
Right.
Or if you have cooked rice left over from another dish, you can just chop your vegetables, your tomato sauce.
Perfect. Colors in there are fantastic, aren't they?
It's a busy dish for something as
Yep.
simple as rice.
Yep.
Now here's the red beans. And this is our style of it. Like I said, we like it a little bit more rustic, where you get to see each
Right.
vegetable, you get the mouth feel of it instead of a puree. I've done reconstituting my own,
Right.
but honestly, at the end of the day, I just
Lot of
don't
time.
find that much of a difference
Right.
once you get everything else involved.
This complete dish is something you would serve at the restaurant. Well, who doesn't like
Adult
mac and cheese?
and the adults, the kids, everybody, the mac and cheese, I don't know what it is about it, but everybody loves it. So there's your three sides. You'll see this in a lot of Southern cooking. Mac and cheese definitely is involved in a lot of barbecue.
Right.
And,
Yep.
and all I'm gonna look for is just wait until this top here becomes a little bit more of a white color.
Right.
That's all, just to show that it is fully cooked, although it does not take long at all. If you have a favorite herb at this point, like if you like rosemary, you like fresh thyme, put some fresh sprigs in there. You can reuse that oil to baste it.
Yeah.
It depends on how you like to cook your fish.
But I'm
Personally,
sure there was enough seasoning in there that you don't have to
Absolutely.
do anything.
Yep. Now this is our cornbread that we make. Almost forgot about that. So another Southern food staple, cornbread, but now we've got our own spin on it. So we like to add jalapeno, which you can see, and then we add cheddar cheese to it so it melts on the inside. So you get these nice little pockets of different flavors. Each bite is a little bit different. We got some cold cut butter in there too, so you might get a butter, you might get a jalapeno bite, you might get a cheese bite. We prefer to cook it in full bread loaves.
So now the magic happens right here, putting that fish on there. Beautiful.
So I like the way this looks now. I think this looks gorgeous. And we haven't even seen the presentation side yet. So then we've got that there. At the restaurant at Nola's, we would put a beurre blanc on top, like some wine, white wine butter with the magic butter, the shallots and the garlic. So, you know, that's the kind of our signature serving sauce. And like almost everything else in New Orleans, a great way to finish the dish with a handsome helping of green onion. Once you cut open this fish and get a look inside, even though it still is blackened on the outside, you'll notice that it's still white, flaky, tender on the inside.
But I do want to taste that catfish. I'm not a fish lover, but I know I've had catfish and I love it because it's very mild.
So the nice thing about the blackening is you do get a crisp. I can actually hear my fork, right? There is a crispiness to the fish, although we didn't use a starch like flour or batter or breading or anything like that. And then on the inside, it's still
moist,
white,
and
flaky. Yep. So it's definitely not burnt at all, but it adds a texture and a flavor that really does help the fish stand out.
That is awesome. So if you want to try catfish at home, there's your recipe. If you want to go out, eat, go to Nola's because they know how to do it perfect. Awesome. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks so much for having me. Cheers.